this background.
Yeah, that does happen with the bubbles for sure. Okay, let's see what's going on here. We're live. Yay.
Yay.
Welcome, everybody. I feel like I'm a little out of practice because we had the internet situation last week. So I had a breather from actually doing this. So now I'm getting back into the swing of things here. So welcome, everybody. I'm Brenda B. Bailey. This is the Theta Power Hour. We do it every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And what happens in that power hour? Well, you get to meet an influencer, an expert, somebody really cool, because I know cool people and I know great people. And we find out, and they're going to give you some great nuggets and things to ponder. And then at the end, we spend a little bit of time doing some theta healing around some of the things that they've brought up or what their clients, because a lot of my guests have clients, what their clients experience, so that everybody can have that and understand it all. So let's see, what else? Please share this. Please tag people. If this is a subject, because it's going to get juicy, folks, that you feel like that somebody would benefit from it, please tag them, please share it. And again, any comments is always welcomed. So are y'all in for a treat today? We have Dr. Gayle Friend. Her expertise is helping powerful women who have been burned to feel safe and trust love again. She is an author, a speaker, and a doctor of human sexuality who has studied psychology for over 30 years. She started when she was 4. Just kidding. So, having been through the relationship ringer more than once, Gayle knows what it takes to attract an amazing partner and how to create an extraordinary relationship. She also knows most go about it ineffectively. Most go about it ineffectively, trying to attract the love of their life before blocks and triggers from the past are gone. So the premium trust, love again process Gayle developed turned her and her love life completely around. So this isn't anybody that's just doing it from Booksmart. This is experience. So with decades of experience, plus a combination of science and spirituality, she is highly successful in guiding women to achieve exceptional results quickly. She is a leading expert, helping her exclusive clients navigate their emotional minefields and find the peace and happiness and passion they are worthy of. Gayle can often be found painting, collecting heart-shaped rocks at the beach, or cooking up a storm with her husband. And you can connect with Gayle at trustloveagain.com. So welcome, Gayle.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I told y'all. So again, this is going to get good, guys. So share it, tag people. Now that you know what her background is. I also feel like that this is really good stuff to hear and to end. And most people have had the opportunity to take 2020 and to reflect where they need to move forward. And how we do anything is how we do everything, right? So let's find out and get some pearls of wisdom from Dr. Gayle. So Gayle, just in case, because I know a lot of people are going, I have no idea what that looks like. What does a happy, healthy relationship look like?
And you're right, it is foreign to most people. And the reason is because it was seldom modeled. Everybody is always just doing the best they can, and relationship stuff is not taught. Sexuality is rarely taught outside of safety and being safe with your body. But, you know, as what I have come to know is that a happy, healthy relationship has this very powerful trifecta of love, intimacy, and sex. Those 3 things combined. And love is it's pure. Love is a pure emotion. And sex is perfectly natural. And as my mentor used to like to say, is sex is perfectly natural, but it's not always naturally perfect. How true is that? And love is always perfect, but we get kind of marred up and questioning love and holding back sexually or using sex not to our best advantage, because all that stuff where it gets messy and complicated is all in the intimacy portion. So that's the cornerstone. You got to have love, and love is within all of us. And if it's a partner that you get along with, that love is going to be naturally there if you don't have blocks to it. And sexually, moving through any blocks that you have around sexuality, if it's not based in a medical concern, it's all about relationship. Sexual concerns, they're a relationship you have either with yourself or with your partner. And again, that's that intimacy part. It's the intimately knowing yourself, your inner landscape, who you are, and being able to share that with a partner. And the other way around, of course, it's intimately knowing your partner.
I feel like what you're saying, Gayle, is like, well, this is the deal, right? Love is perfect.
Yes.
Human beings aren't.
Yes.
Right. So, so again, it's navigating that.
Yes. We humans are, we're humanly imperfect and spiritually perfect. This is who we are. So it's working through all that muck and really getting to know who you are. You know, when I first started out in human sexuality, most people were coming to me with sexual problems, of course, but any sexual concerns in the bedroom are really just symptomatic of other things that are going on within the person themselves, within the relationship. So happy, healthy, dynamic, passionate, peaceful, relaxed relationship is that love, intimacy, and sex.
Well, and I feel like, again, I'm gonna guess that when people work with you, because I say it all the time, and I'll say it for the second time today, you know, how we do anything is how we do everything. That if you address it in one area, right? Because we all want to address it in all areas as human beings. But if you address in one area, it benefits all areas of your life because it can show you what's missing.
Yes, yes and no. Because, and the reason I say that is when I was working with clients and we were primarily addressing the sexual concerns, there was all this other stuff burgling in the background that was preventing them from really fully embracing their own sexuality and being able to trust and move forward in the bedroom with understanding their own sexual desires and, you know, all of the mindset pieces. If you're just focused on one, you kind of miss out on the other. But okay. I totally understand what you're saying.
What I meant was, is that if you focus, like say, on the sexuality and the trifecta, it can also benefit you at your job.
Oh,
in your business, and other relationships. That's what I meant, right? Is that, again, I think we want to look at everything in every area of our lives, so to speak. But if you can just figure out how to get a handle on it in one, it's just like a ripple effect and can affect so many others.
Oh, absolutely. I had a client who was she was sexually abused as a child. And it was a really horrific story that nobody should go through that type of experience that she went through. And she never had a relationship where she felt safe. You know, she'd be sitting at the table and he'd come up behind and put his hand on her shoulder and she'd instantly tense up just from that type of touch. So it was really difficult for her. And she'd been in therapy off and on for years and years and years. And as we worked through this, and like only 6 months. We only worked together for 6 months. She found that she had a love for art. She took up painting. She's taken up music. Her relationships, everything from girlfriends to romantic, have blossomed, and she's just joyful now, totally. So absolutely.
When you were like, maybe yes, maybe no, I was like, really? Why not? And then I was like, oh, she misunderstood what I said. All good. So tell us, Gayle, what is intimacy?
Uh, as I was saying before, intimacy is knowing your true self. That's the bones of it. It's really about knowing yourself on all levels, not just who you think you are, because who you think you are is the story that you're attached to that started to develop when you were really, really little. So intimacy is getting to know who you are on a physical level. What are your physical desires? What kind of touch do you enjoy? What kind of movement do you enjoy? What fabrics feel the best against your skin? It's soaking in the sensations and really knowing yourself on a physical level. It's your mind. How do you think about love? How do you think about relationships? How do you think about sex? How do you think about the gender that you're attracted to? What are all the stories you've got going on? And who do they belong to? Do they belong to you? Or do they belong to the people who have modeled that for you? Or the information you've gotten from peers? Where does all that come from? So it's intimately knowing this. It's your emotions. You're feeling angry, you're feeling frustrated. What's that all about? Where's that coming from? What is it really attached to? Because often it is not that specific situation that brought it to the surface. There can be other stuff going on. Who are you? What's your spirit? And I don't mean this particularly as far as spirituality, although that's part of it, but it is your essence, your vibrancy, your passions. What turns you on? What lights you up? And not just in a sexual way, but is it a sunset? Is it the particular type of coffee or anything it is? Like when you think of somebody that who is it that lights you up? What is it about them? So it's knowing your own spirit and bringing that forward, feeling that freedom and that confidence to bring it forward. And the other thing is intimacy is your patterns of connection. How do you connect with the other person, with other people in your lives? Are you somebody who kind of guards yourself? Are you someone who's more demanding? What are your patterns of connection? Because that's another area to really look at and know, how am I showing up with this particular person? What are my patterns in how I approach a difficult situation? What are my patterns in how I show up in the bedroom? Am I an initiator, or do I wait for the other person to initiate? What are my patterns as far as my desires? Are there other things that I might want to explore? So the intimacy is knowing yourself on all of those levels. It also has a big piece about trusting yourself, trusting the other person, and sharing who you are intimately. So sounds like vulnerability? Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Well, I think with anything, we come to a level of understanding ourselves through vulnerability. But I would have to say probably the place that it is affected the most is in our relationships, and more importantly, our, significant relationships, not friendships, right? So whether that be husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend with benefits, I have no idea, but right. But whatever that looks like. So because I was just going, well, and what you're also talking about as well is that most people don't know what they want or need.
Yes.
And then
And
that's
that,
hard to communicate because
oh,
we want it as women, we just want men to read our minds, and men I think that everybody thinks like them, right? So they're just like, oh, if you don't tell me, I don't know. And then as women, I think we probably struggle with telling that, doing that. I don't know. You'd have to ask Gayle, right? Because Dr. Gayle knows this is what she deals with. So we'll just move on because we're talking about communication. So that was my next question is, it said that communication is the cornerstone of relationships. Do you agree?
again, that's a yes, no answer. Um, Communication is vitally important. Yes, it's part of our patterns of how we connect. Uh, but a lot of people think that if I only learned, or if my partner would only learn how to listen better, or if only my partner would tell me what they want, or if only my partner would, or I don't know, another scenario was in my brain, then it vanished.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that um, if only my partner would tell me what they want. And did you ask them? It's a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
So
And the other reason I say, like communication is vitally important. Is it the cornerstone? Again, I'm going back to, I think it's part of it. You can have that trifecta of love, intimacy, and sex, and they can be two people who they're not as communicative verbally. So the cornerstone isn't the communication so much as the depth of connection. And when it comes to communication, there can be a real falling out because if you haven't healed the triggers from the hurts that have happened within that relationship or past relationships or childhood or past wherever they belong, then you are communicating with all of that baggage. You're communicating from behind those barriers you've got around your heart. And one of the things that I say to clients is, if you're both protecting your heart, who's doing the loving? How is that working? So communication is always hampered by those same blocks that get in the way of loving purely, of showing up in your full sexual essence and being your vulnerable selves, that intimacy portion. So to me, it's more the intimacy that is the cornerstone, and communication is part of it.
got it. It's one of the things that you do when
Mm-hmm.
you're being intimate.
Mm-hmm.
So again, good stuff, right, guys? So like, tag, share, so that more people can get this. I don't think we talk enough about this, but now we're going to get into, I guess I'm going to say maybe your area of specialty, Gayle, with the next question is, why is it so hard for powerful women to attract a partner on their level?
Great question. Well, there are.
Inquiring minds want to know, right? Now everybody's ears are perking up. Now some of these ladies are listening. So again, tag somebody that you feel like needs to hear this, like it and share.
Okay, so why is it so hard? There are several reasons. The first reason is they're hurt. They've been hurt in the past. Very powerful women are often, well, they're strong women. They're independent, and that can be intimidating to a lot of people. It not that I mean, everyone that I work with shows that they have this big, open, juicy heart that's full of love, but they've learned to protect that heart. And some of the things I hear are, there's no men left in the world. There's no good ones. They are powerful women. They've got one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, just like a lot of us do in different areas, where they want a really extraordinary relationship. They want that trifecta. They know they're worthy of it, but they've got that foot on the brake going, I don't want to be hurt again. I'm done. I don't have time for this. I don't want another crappy relationship. And so they're wanting something at the same time telling themselves, I really don't want it. So that's part of it. And they're telling themselves that on a subconscious level, right? Or, you
They're,
know,
they're saying it out loud and I don't think they mean it,
yeah,
right? They're saying it out loud.
yeah, glass of wine with a girlfriend going, oh, I am done. I am so done with this, right? So the other thing is that one of the most sexy things that people continually rate high in quizzes and research, what's the most sexy thing to you? And confidence. Confidence is right up there at the top almost every single time. People are attracted to confidence. Powerful women are confident. Now, here's the thing. They've got this push pull going on. If I want this, I don't really want this. So they are attracting men. These men are attracted to their confidence, but they end up being intimidated by this woman. So here's what happens. They're attracting men who aren't owning their healthy masculinity. Because when these women are really powerful, very often they're not owning their full, healthy, feminine energy. So these men aren't in their healthy masculinity. So they're attracting men who either aren't stepping into it, they're somewhat weak, they want the mommy figure, someone who's going to take care of them. They're men who have been emasculated in the past. They're used to that. And they're subconsciously searching for a powerful woman who is going to emasculate them and fulfill their life pattern of this constantly happening to them. Or the women are attracting a man who's in his unhealthy masculinity and wants to dominate this powerful woman, because we can't have two alphas in the same relationship. So they end up in a power struggle. So why it's hard for women to attract a partner on their level comes right down to the very basic thing of they lack the trust that there is someone out there for them. They lack the trust in themselves being able to make the right choice the next time so they don't end up in a crappy relationship. And they lack the trust in the person that could be a potential partner because of, again, past experiences. Always comes back to the past stuff, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's, if you don't want to look at it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come, right? It's like, wait, like if you just put the blinders on or you want to be in the denial, I'm sorry, I love the saying, no matter where I go, I'm always there.
Mm-hmm.
Always going to be there. So you can decide to deal with it, look at it, find, to be able to attract that person for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here is the last question. What is one thing successful women can do to break the cycle?
You said it. It's awareness. It is really being aware. It's everything you and I have actually talked about already. It's awareness of the stories that they have in their mind. It's awareness of what they're saying out loud. It's saying things like, all men are, there aren't any men who, men never do this or that or the other thing. I'm always, I never. It's awareness of your thoughts, awareness of the stories. You know, those stories come from those stories are valid in a way because they're attached to experiences that you've already had. They're a perception that has formed over time. Brenda, your thing is about breaking through the glass ceiling of your earnings, your potential, your income. And so we put these glass ceiling above ourselves as far as relationships go as well. So what is your awareness of that glass ceiling? If you've only ever had these lackluster relationships, or you've been burned so many times, then are you aware of what is possible?
Absolutely. And are you dating the same person? That is a strong indicator that you're, where you're at, what you need help with. Because the common denominator in that equation is you.
That's what I learned. Man, you know, I'm second marriage, and my first marriage, you know, typical story, got married too young, didn't know how to love each other, like seriously, did not know how to be in relationship, how to be intimate. We just didn't. And then I dated a lot. And then I met my current husband. And at the beginning, it was like, ooh, rainbows and orgasms. It was amazing. And then slowly things started to devolve, and the same patterns were happening in our relationship that had happened in my first relationship. And when Daryl tells it, he says the same things were happening in our relationship that happened in his previous relationships. So it was, okay, what's the common denominator here? Hello. So there was a lot of internal work on both of our parts. And he was the resistant partner at first, but you know, I was leading the charge going, no, we're better than this. Because we were at the point where we were talking divorce, and just went, no, I don't want to go down that road again. And honestly, had conversations up above, spirit conversations, God conversations, and just tuning in. I would get really still and quiet and feel into my body and ask, you know, or I would say, what was it I would say to myself? I would say something along the lines of, I am divorced from Daryl, or something like that. I would just focus on divorce, and I would feel what it felt like in my body. And it always felt tense and ugly and deep and heavy. And then I would imagine continuing in our relationship as it was, and it was pretty much the same thing. And then I would imagine us better, showing up as our true selves, you know, instead of the masks we were hiding behind. And I felt light and airy, and I just knew that there was more to us. Now, some relationships aren't meant to be. And you know, those are the ones we really have to walk away from. So whether it's a current relationship or whether it's a future relationship, it's the same work. Still got to do the same stuff.
And Gail, would you say that it's that both people have to be willing to do the work?
Eventually, yes. Yeah. Now, I did have one client. I should say this.
Here's a disclaimer. Go on.
Absolutely. Well, there's, you know, always different scenarios, but I had this one client where it was her third marriage and she didn't want to go down that divorce road again. And so her and I worked together, just her and I, and the marriage she was in just took off and blossomed because of the work she did. She was the one really holding herself back in the relationship. He was patient with her until she caught up. So sometimes there's one, well, no, almost always there's one person who's got more stuff to work through, or they're just more resistant to it. It takes a little bit longer, but yeah, obviously he was at the point where he had done his work. He did know how to be in a relationship, and she had to work through the blocks, the beliefs, the stories that were holding her back from really being fully in it.
Nice. Good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel like you want people to know or to share? We'll give them, we're going to do a little bit of theta work, but we have been like zipping through these questions.
uh, sexuality is, to get a little deeper into that, sexuality is one of those things that it's got a high trigger response, really high trigger response, especially here in North America. And as I said at the beginning, my mentor's quote, sex is perfectly natural, but it's not always naturally perfect. Yeah, my wish for women is, and for men too, is for them to really embrace the fact that you are a sexual being. Sexuality isn't something that you take off the shelf as you walk into the bedroom, or the living room or the kitchen table or wherever. Your sexuality is a part of who you are. It is a part of your physicality. It is a part of your thought process. It's part of your emotions. It's part of your spiritual essence. Your sexuality is always there. And most people have it suppressed. Most people squash it down. The other thing that happens frequently, and I've done both. I've squashed it down, and I've used sex as a vehicle to feel love. And a lot of my clients show up with that story. The same experiences where feeling like, I'm just not cut out for relationships. I've had some great sex in my life, but I'm just not cut out for relationships. Well, they're using sex to fill that void. But when you have both, sex becomes this really powerful bonding experience. And I mean, you can have great sex in a one-night stand. And the part of the reason is because you don't have any skin in the game. Or, okay, you've got all skin in the game, but you don't have,
You know what she means.
you don't have anything invested emotionally. You're not as guarded. So you can walk away and never have to see that person again. So you can let your freak flag fly, because you're not afraid of being judged or rejected. And the more you own your sexuality, the more you can just be free to explore that with your partner. And again, two-way street, right? That they're open to it. What else? Sexuality. Oh, be willing to play in the other person's sandbox. Everybody's got different desires. Everybody has different comfort levels. Some people may be more into kinks. Some people be more into soft, tender, tantric type eye gazing, breathing during sexual activity, lots of candles and sensuality. Others might just prefer it more often, down and dirty, and which is never dirty, by the way. I don't know why I said that. I try to avoid saying that, but they like it hard and fast, right? And they don't need a lot of foreplay. They don't need a lot of arousal time. So it's kind of akin to, Gary Chapman. What's the 5 love languages? the love languages, right? So everybody has a primary preference about how they enjoy sexuality or sexual activity. You're always sexual. And everybody has a secondary. Some people, you know, they like the whole gamut. And so if you're stuck here that this is the only way I'm comfortable having sex with you, and the other person is over there saying the same thing, then it's not going to gel. And it's not that you're incompatible. It's just that you're not giving yourself the freedom to play in the other person's sandbox and, you know, explore. Maybe there is something out there for you that you haven't considered. And this comes down again to the messaging that we get as kids and teenagers growing up, that most are not told it's okay to explore your sexuality. In fact, they get the totally opposite message. So permission slip to everybody.
There you go. And we'll do a little work that will help reinforce that. So thank you. So I've been taking notes, right? I know it looks like I'm always texting or something. I always should do that disclaimer at the beginning, but I'm taking notes so that we know what we want to work on. And as I say, you know, theta healing, people can tell me how they think and how they feel, but what you create in your life is what you believe. We hold those on a cellular level. So we go beyond the mind and the subconscious, and changes just happen instantly. So what's important is that you say yes in the comments below as well as out loud. So you need to do both. With social media, folks, yes, you say yes, and then yes in the comments below if you want the work. Always with a new student or a new client, always make sure that we have 3 beliefs in place, and that's I want an instant healing, I deserve an instant healing, and an instant healing is possible. So if you have never experienced one of my co-lives, and you can always look them up because I interview a lot of really great people like Gayle, you just say yes.
Yes.
And Gayle will cue you. That is one of the requirements of my featured guests is they must cue you. So go ahead and do that now.
Yes.
And then let's look at my list.
And
One, I
Brenda,
always say we want to get divine definitions. And the ones that I came up with are the trifecta of intimacy, love, and sex, as well as feminine and masculinity, and vulnerability and confidence and connection. So what that means is that we're going to get that divine definition, be in alignment with it, know what it feels like, that it's possible, that it's safe, and how it serves us. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud.
yes.
And we want to forgive ourselves. Because again, we can't move forward if we got 1 foot in the past, can't put that foot forward. So we want to forgive ourselves for being imperfect. We want to forgive ourselves for the patterns, those loops that we've gotten caught in. We want to forgive ourselves if we are a female for not truly embracing our femininity, if we are a male, not truly embracing our masculinity. We want to forgive ourselves for not being willing to be vulnerable, and also forgive ourselves for being vulnerable, having the wrong discernment, right? Not doing it with the right person or people. We want to forgive ourselves for not being truthful with ourselves. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud.
Yes.
And then we also want to, let's see, change what prevents us as an imperfect human experiencing perfect love.
Good one.
And change what prevents us from being willing, so being vulnerable, being willing to be who we are instead of who we think we are. And we want to change what prevents us from having the trifecta of intimacy, love, and sex. We also want to change what prevents us from being vulnerable for our highest and best good. So again, having that discernment on who we choose that with. We also want to change what obligates us to believe that there is a limit on good men. And we want to change what prevents us from exuding confidence or being confident so we can exude confidence. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud.
Hell yes.
This is a whole lot. These are good. Like, share, tag. These are good downloads. Is there anything else that you'd want to add to that list, Gayle?
Something around the belief that there's only one acceptable way for sex to look, sound.
So we want to change
way.
what prevents us from being open to there being many faces of sex and sexuality.
Yes.
Okay. So if you would like that, just say yes out loud.
Yes.
Okay. So Gayle, what do you have to offer people here? What would their next step be? How can they get a hold of you?
Sure. 30-minute complimentary consultation where we can also do a little bit of theta work in that, looking at what's really going on for you individually. I've covered a lot of broad things, but what's happening for you specifically, and we can do some more clearing in that. Trustloveagain.com is the best way to get a hold of me. That's where you can sign up for that. Also, I'm throwing this in last minute. I have a Facebook group I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be opening the doors sometime in the new year, But if you want to apply now, then you'll be among the first in there. And in that group, we're going to be doing, like Brenda does, we're going to be doing a little bit of theta work, exploring different areas of relationships and sexuality. It is specific to women because I want to create a safe container, and women generally feel a lot safer if they are in a community of women only to explore these things. So safety first.
You heard it here first, folks. So,
Oh, and the group is called Trust Love Again. So yes.
so website Trust Love Again, Gayle Friend on Facebook. So either is there a way that they can get on the waiting list for that or be notified? Is it?
They can apply to join.
Okay.
You know,
So they need to have a conversation with you before they get into the group. So
there's no questions they have to answer first.
okay. So just go on our website and you'll be able to get that information.
Yeah.
Again, we do really cool work like this throughout the week in my group on Wealth Vibe Acceleration. So the link is in the post, as well as I have, my Linktree link that, or, has all my social media handles and all of that. So you can get to it easier. So next week, same time, same place is, let me look this up, guys, because I do not keep track of all of this. I have a lovely team that does. Dana Ferrant, which when you hear her story, it's going to be so cool how it I can't make up this stuff, guys, or how people get scheduled in. It just happens. And it's always beautiful how they do. And so Dana is going to be addressing the 3 changes to make you level up and dominate.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
nice.
Join us here. These are always shared in my Wealth Vibe Acceleration group as well. So it makes it a little bit easier to find. Thank you again, Dr. Gayle Friend.
Thank you, Brenda. This has been fun.
So I hope, again, tag, like, share, because this is some great information, guys. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Thank you.